The invitation. They arrived not with weapons, but with song. 3 ships, sleek, silver, humming with energy, descended over Earth's upper orbit like dancers. The world paused. News cycles stalled. Wars paused mid-sentence. Every screen, from Times Square to deep Martian dig sites, displayed the same message. We wish to speak. No ultimatum. No coordinates. Just intent. World governments scrambled. Satellites pivoted. Intelligence agencies held emergency sessions. But before Earth could respond, the ships projected a beam downward, one not of destruction, but construction. A circular platform formed just outside Geneva, hovering 30 meters off the ground. It shimmered with symbols, none of which matched known languages. And on the 7th hour, a being appeared. 2 meters tall, elongated limbs, skin that refracted the surrounding light like a prism. Its voice carried without sound, a psionic ripple through every living mind. I am Kalzek of the Velari Ascendancy. I come with peace, history, and warning. The world held its breath. Jackson Hale, 38, ex-Special Forces turned linguistic analyst, didn't believe in fate. But when the UN summoned him personally to Geneva's security bunker beneath the floating platform, he began to wonder. He arrived in worn tactical boots and a plain jacket. The others in the chamber wore polished metals, robes, suits that cost more than his apartment. He stood out. He didn't care. A general approached. You're the only one who's cracked even part of their language. I didn't crack it, Jackson corrected. They let us understand. The general frowned. You're saying they're choosing what we hear? They've been choosing from the start. Above them, Kalzek sat cross-legged on the hovering stage, unmoving, unarmed, unblinking. Around him, humans built temporary command tents, sensor towers, and translation booths. The Velari had given Earth full access. No barriers. No security. Just that single line. We wish to speak. At 0900, Jackson was escorted onto the stage. He ascended the levitating platform with practiced caution. The wind shifted subtly as he crossed the threshold, then silence. No drone hum. No murmuring crowds. Just him, Kalzek, and the faint shimmer of energy between them. He spoke first. Jackson Hale. Earth. Kalzek tilted his head. Your language is jagged. Warlike. Built to issue commands. That's accurate. You are accurate, Kalzek replied. You speak as if each word must be earned. Jackson met his gaze. That's also accurate. The alien blinked, sideways, slow. We chose this world because of what you do, not what you say. Jackson frowned. Explain. Kalzek stood. You resist entropy. They walked in a slow circle atop the platform. No audience, no cameras. Just 2 minds at the edge of understanding. You humans, Kalzek said, are statistically improbable. Your rise defied expectation. Your wars are devastating. Your peace brief. And yet you endure. You learn. You build in spite of failure. We're stubborn, Jackson offered. No, Kalzek said. You're inevitable. Jackson stopped walking. That's not comforting. It's not meant to be, Kalzek replied. We watched you. From your first chemical rocket to your first faster-than-light burst. We catalogued your collapses. Your genocides. Your recoveries. And we found no species that should survive what you've endured. You should have extinguished yourselves a dozen times over. But we didn't. Exactly. A panel of translucent symbols floated between them. Kalzek gestured, and images flickered: early human history, mushroom clouds, moon landings, deep ocean habitats, orbital stations. Kalzek's voice sharpened. We are the Velari. We govern 28 systems. We encountered 8 intelligent species. All follow the pattern: peak, stagnation, extinction. You break it. Jackson crossed his arms. So what do you want from us? Nothing. That surprised him. Kalzek continued. We came to deliver a warning. You are not alone. There are others, older, darker. We call them the hollow core. They do not build. They consume. Thought. Identity. Culture. Why warn us? Because you are the only ones we fear. That silence stretched. Jackson asked, "What do you mean by fear?" Kulzik walked to the platform's edge and looked down at Earth's horizon. "Your nature is aggressive, yes. But your strength is in persistence. You lose more than anyone. And you return." He turned. "When the hollow core comes, and they will, you will be the only species capable of resisting them. Not through size. Not through technology. Then how? Through refusal. Through defiance." Jackson stepped closer. "You're telling me that all of this, our disasters, our losses, our violence, is a strength?" "In context, yes. Because you never stay broken. That makes you dangerous. That makes you necessary. Sounds like we're not the species you came to study. You are the species we came to prepare." That night, Jackson met with the Global Council. Their faces pale. Their voices quiet. "You're saying we're the firewall?" one ambassador whispered. Jackson nodded. "They think we're the last hope. The last line. Why us?" He looked up. "Because we've never stopped getting back up. Earth's sky would never be the same." The Valari ships remained in orbit, silent watchers now. They did not interfere, did not demand. They simply hovered, waiting. Waiting for the storm. Waiting for humanity to do what it always had. 3 weeks passed. The Valari ships never left orbit. They watched, silent and motionless, like ancient judges observing a species on trial. Every nation sent their best, scientists, strategists, philosophers, military generals, to Geneva, where the hovering platform still stood, waiting for its next visitor. But Jackson Hale wasn't among the delegations anymore. He was in orbit. Aboard the Horizon Spire, Earth's first fully integrated diplomatic vessel, a joint effort between the United Nations Space Commission and Valari Technology. A marvel of engineering, fusion and bioreactive alloys woven with human steel, ugly by Valari standards, beautiful by human ones. Jackson walked its curved corridor, boots echoing on polished composite. The lights adjusted to his stride. Even now, he hadn't grown used to how alive the ship felt. At the far end of the deck, Captain Riva Andon, late of the Lunar Expeditionary Fleet, stood reviewing telemetry data on a hovering panel. She didn't look up. "You're supposed to be resting," she said. "I'm supposed to be a lot of things," Jackson replied, standing beside her. "But the Valari said the hollow core is close. I don't rest well when something like that is out there." She flicked a symbol. The display morphed into a swirling simulation, a dark sector, then a spreading cloud of static, a visual representation of systems gone dark. 17 systems. Gone. No life. No tech. Just noise. Riva's voice was flat. "The Valari say it started in the farward expanse. Moved inward." Jackson's eyes narrowed. "They're not consuming planets. They're consuming identity. Language. Memory. Structure. Culture. It's like entropy with intent." He said nothing. Just watched as more stars vanished from the map. In the diplomatic hall, Kulzik reappeared, this time aboard the Horizon Spire. He stood without announcement, without transition. One moment absence, the next absolute presence. Ambassador Lin frowned. "You bypassed our security." Kulzik tilted his head. "You misunderstand. We are security. Our arrival is your alarm. Have they arrived? They are near. You will see soon." Jackson stepped forward. "Then let us see." Kulzik turned to him. "You still speak with edge. That is good. Edge is what kept us alive. And what will keep others alive?" Kulzik replied. "You must prepare to lead." The hollow core announced themselves with silence. No radio burst. No translator handshake. Just a black sphere that appeared on the outer edge of the system, twice the size of Luna. No propulsion. No energy signatures. Just motionless orbit, invisible to the eye except for the way it bent the starlight around it. Then ships began disappearing. First a scout drone. Then a mining rig on the Martian belt. Then 3 orbital buoys around Neptune. All gone. Not exploded. Not jammed. Gone. Jackson stood in the Spire's command center, staring at the display. They're probing. Captain Riva nodded. Learning what we're willing to sacrifice. We're humans, Jackson said. We don't sacrifice without making damn sure we hurt something on the way out. A Valarianve, this one called Eshun, joined Jackson in the observatory chamber later that night. The hollow core sphere loomed at the edge of the projection, dark and cold. You are unsettled, Eshun said, voice like wind through glass. They didn't contact us. Not even an ultimatum. They do not speak. They unmake. Communication implies coexistence. Why did they wait? They didn't wait, Eshun answered. They needed to confirm something. What? That you were what we claimed. Jackson's voice dropped. And now? They're coming. The UN authorized a global transmission. All 7 billion humans, from subterranean habitats in Africa to floating arcologies in the Arctic, tuned in. Jackson Hale stood before the camera. Not as a soldier. Not as a diplomat. As a human. We've always been alone in the dark, he said. But now the dark is looking back. And for the first time, it sees something that doesn't run. He took a breath. We aren't the strongest. We aren't the oldest. But we're the ones who remember. We persist. We refuse. The camera panned slowly, capturing Earth behind him through the Spire's observation dome. We are not prey. His final words echoed worldwide. We are the firewall. Down on Earth, something changed. The panic didn't come. Factories reactivated. Defense satellites aligned. Old nations put down old grudges. Something ancient woke inside humanity, something buried but never broken. Unity through threat. Not fear, but clarity. Across Mars, Luna, and Europa, people began to say the same thing. Let them come. Inside the hollow core vessel, there were no eyes. No crew. Just hunger. And as it moved slowly toward Earth, it pulsed once. A whisper echoed in the dark, heard only by the Valari, who trembled. The humans have chosen. Humanity does not blink. The hollow core arrived without noise. Not a single alert was triggered when it slipped past Neptune. No heat signature, no gravitational ripple. Just presence, an absence so immense it distorted light and sound. The sky above Earth dimmed slightly, like dusk creeping in at noon. Inside the horizon spire, every sensor was blind. Alarms screamed uselessly. AI clusters crashed trying to process the non-data. And yet humanity acted. Jackson Hale stood in the Spire's war room, surrounded by commanders, scientists, and Valari envoys. The entire chamber hummed with tension, but Jackson's voice was steady. Is this it? He asked. Kalzek, arms folded behind his back, nodded. Yes. They have come to erase. You are the anomaly they intend to test. Good, Jackson said, turning to the room. Then we show them the price of curiosity. Over Earth, hundreds of defense satellites began sinking. Project Titan, once mothballed as too aggressive, was reactivated. 6 autonomous orbital cannons shifted into position, forming a perfect ring. The hollow core did not react. In fact, it didn't do anything at all. A 500 km wide object just hovered, indifferent. That scared the generals more than any energy weapon. They're waiting, whispered Admiral Yu. For us to shoot. Jackson stepped forward. Then we don't. Not yet. A murmur rippled through the chamber. Jackson pointed at the screen. That thing doesn't move like it's scared. It moves like it's curious. We give it one shot. One message. Riva frowned. What kind of message? Orbiter 9, a forgotten relic from the early space era, was reprogrammed manually. Inside its chassis, a single human artifact was loaded, a wax-sealed letter. Handwritten. it said. We see you. You will not unmake us. Humans endure. The probe launched silently toward the sphere. The room watched. When it reached the object's edge, the entire orb rippled, like a drop in a black pond. The letter was gone. No weapon fired. But something inside the hollow core shifted. They're thinking, Kalzek whispered. They've never been spoken to. Only feared. Minutes passed. Then an answer came. Not in symbols or psionic whispers, but in voice, gravelly, glitching, translated perfectly into every human language across the planet. Why? That was all it said. Just one word. Jackson exhaled. They don't understand why we fight. He looked at the room. Then stepped forward, past the cameras, past the line of armed soldiers, and stared into the hovering sphere's shadow. Then he spoke, calmly, clearly. Because we remember every name you erased. Every culture you silenced. Every voice you devoured. And we're not like them. We're not going to run. We're humans. We will die on our feet, with teeth in your throat. For several seconds the hollow core did not reply. Then, it retreated. Not violently. Not in fear. But slowly, backward, shrinking in space, the black orb folding into itself until it blinked out beyond Neptune. Gone. No weapon fired. No casualty taken. Earth won through defiance. Kalzek stood beside Jackson, all written across his refracted features. We believed you were the firewall, he said. But now we see you are the spark. Jackson glanced at the sky. We didn't want to be. That's why you're worthy. Humanity didn't celebrate like it had won a war. It didn't dance in the streets. But something fundamental shifted. No longer the galaxy's children. No longer isolated. They had spoken to the dark. And the dark had listened. 3 weeks later, the Valari High Ascendancy ceded diplomatic leadership to Earth. 3 months later, the first human-led fleet passed Pluto on its way to unknown stars. And aboard the lead ship, Jackson Hale looked out into the dark, hands folded behind his back. He didn't smile. He didn't speak. He just stared, unblinking. Because humans don't blink. Not anymore.